Mauricio Pochettino bites back in his Everton versus Chelsea preview press conference, where he absolutely tells the fans, look, you can't go 0 to 100 back to 0 real quick, because the reality is this is a process, this is a project, and I partially agree with him. Ian Matson needs to take a long hard look in the mirror. Either somebody on his PR team needs to be sacked, and I do not call for people's jobs lightly, or he needs to explain what that comment was, because you cannot be commenting on Sofri and Amrabat's picture after they whooped our backside 24 hours ago. Let's get into this, let's break it down, let's move. Welcome to the Kavkas View. We are going to be breaking down the Mauricio Pochettino press conference, and I feel sorry for Mauricio Pochettino, because those press conferences must be dull as hell to do, purely based on the fact that they literally are results based. If you're winning, everything's cheery, everyone's licking your bum bum. If you're losing, everybody can't wait to stab you in the back. And that's literally what these journalists. It is absolutely pathetic, some of the questions that he is asked. And we are going to break them down. I'm going to talk about why Mauricio bit back. But before we get started, I need you lot to do me a massive favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because it's the easiest way you guys can support me. So we are super close to 31,500. So I'd really appreciate if we can get it done in this video. And more importantly, 1,000 likes is what I want on this video. We can't seem to break 750. Why? Do it now in the comments below. Let me know what number you were. Now, let's move on with it. Before we start with the press conference and the preview for the game, I think we need to be realistic and talk about this Ian Matson thing. Ian Matson has come out of the Chelsea Academy. Ian Matson is a Chelsea prospect, so he is Cobham raised. And you would expect there would be a little bit of loyalty on his behalf, right? He would love this club the way you do, the way I do, the way every single Chelsea fan that goes to Stamford Bridge or wakes up in the morning at 3 AM to watch the game because they're an international fan. We're all fans. We all love this club. We all make sacrifices. And for him, he's made a ton of sacrifices to become a professional footballer. He's made a lot of sacrifices to become the individual that he is at the moment. Very talented, makes it at this club. So what I don't understand is where his professional integrity is. You lose to Manchester United, right? As a club, you lose to Manchester United. Whether you played or not, whether the boys are actively on the pitch or not, you must be feeling this. You're part of the group. As fans, we feel. So why are you on Amrabat's comment section commenting on a picture like, salute? Why are you saluting, bruv? We see this. Either you've got control of your Instagram, or someone on your PR team had a massive breakdown. This tells me two things. Ian Matson will be leaving Chelsea in January. And secondly, the big one, he's soft. Like, this is soft. Absolutely soft. And the reason I say this is because this Chelsea team is soft in general. I've got Ian Matson commenting on Amrabat's pictures, which in my opinion is nasty stuff, right? They just whooped your ass and you're commenting on these pictures. You got the sassy in the game hugging players, which blows my mind. You're meant to be the tough guy. Bro, if I stepped on you, I don't care. For the next 90 minutes, you're not a friend. If I have to break your leg, I will. That should be the mentality. You got Cole Palmer high-fiving players during the game. Why? You got Mudryk coming off the pitch, high-fiving Anthony. What is this? A flop-off? Reality is, yeah, what is this? I'm doing bad in my career at the moment. I'm not performing at Chelsea. Anthony, you're not doing bad. The high-five, man. Yay, guys. We are absolutely not performing at our jobs. We should be so proud of ourselves. Let's high-five. You're losing. What are you doing? Like, the reality is we need to be better. We need to have players that are as upset as us at times. You need to be losing. I sometimes prefer if you lose your head. I sometimes prefer if you clamp someone, like the way, you know what Reece James done? I was angry because he lost his cool. I much rather prefer that than if Reece started hugging Anthony Gordon, like, well done, great goal. Well done, guys, well done. Absolutely phenomenal. You know, excellent. You might make the plane for Germany, for England. You know what? Very good. Let's improve your statistics. No. What is this high-five nonsense? Sometimes I just wish the players cared as much as I do. And sometimes it is evident that some of these players just don't care. Now to the press conference. Mauricio Pochettino, right? I feel sorry for him because evidently English is his second language. He's Spanish. He most probably speaks Spanish majority of the day when he goes home, when he speaks with his family, sometimes in training, he speaks Spanish. So when he speaks English, yes, his English is good, but sometimes he can't articulate things in the way that someone that is native of the English language would be able to articulate things. Because sometimes the translation is not the same from language to language. As somebody that speaks multiple languages, I know this is the case. When I speak Russian, when I speak Azerbaijani, when I speak Turkish, sometimes the translation, what I want to say with my brain in English to one of those languages doesn't come out totally correct. And it's very easy to take it out of context. And the reality is, when he says today, yes, we are challenging, we're going to challenge for the top 4. Maybe not now, but in the future. You can't take that as he means in the future 3 years ago. He most probably means, and based on his comments in that whole passage, he didn't mean we're going to challenge next year and the year after and this year we're not good enough. He meant we're going to be fine. We're just going to compete in the near future. Like soon, because we've got 6 games that are very winnable. We win 5 of those games, we're in the top 4 hunt. We're 9 points off 5th. Like, let that sink in. 9 points off 5th. 3 games. Spurs need to lose 3 games, we need to win. And then after match what we do, and we're literally in that position. Like, people need to stop now with taking a little sentence and nitpicking on it. And he also said, what kind of environment do we have to develop young players when the expectation is just win, 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 win? And he said, this is Chelsea, so we understand that. But players need to have area to grow. And you know what? I think this is the big difference between us and other clubs. And this is why we can't do what Brighton do. We can't do what Brentford do. We can't do what Spurs do. We can't do what Newcastle do. And buy young players, put them into the team, and expect them to develop and then compete, because we need to win now. No one knows whether Adingra had a good game yesterday if Brighton lose, because no one checks. When he does well, everyone's like, oh, I see, what a great talent acquisition. But Brighton are 7th. And the reason why Matoma is not getting criticised is because Brighton don't expect to be higher than 7th. The reason why Evan Ferguson isn't getting criticised is because Brighton don't expect him to be consistent. They're developing players. At Chelsea, you can't do that. And this is what Pochettino is trying to explain. We can't only depend on the young players. We need to give them time. And he says it perfectly. We need to give them 6 months, a year, 4 months. And people will choose to ignore. Then Pochettino spoke about the injuries. And he was like, look, Nkunku's day by day. Like, we need to know tomorrow whether he's going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it. And he said Gusto might be ready for the game. And this is where I need to talk to you guys. I think we need to stop putting pressure on Christopher Nkunku and Romeo Lavia and Malo Gusto to come back and change our system and season. Because Gusto, no one's doing. But the other 2, I've seen so much hype. Oh, the minute Gusto gets back and the Lavia gets back, the minute Christopher gets back, we're going to be amazing. Christopher Nkunku has become Lionel Nkunku. The hype around him, you would think this man's going to put Erling Haaland numbers on the board, Messi creativities on the pitch. That is the build-up he has had. This is like if you watch wrestling, the time John Cena came back to win the Royal Rumble and go to WrestleMania. When he came out, everyone was like, oh my God. And this is exactly what is happening. We expect him to hit the ground running when the man's never played in the Premier League before. We need to calm down. And I also think Chelsea needs to stop releasing that statement on their website. Injuries, like the status of it. Yes, I understand it drives traction to their website and this is what they most probably want, but it gives no clarity, it gives false optimism, and also it brings abuse to their medical staff. People are saying, oh, the medical staff don't know what they're doing. Bruv, the reality is the guy had I think an ACL or whatever he had, a sprained knee. It's 6 to 9 months. So we need to be patient. Like, we can't just rush him back. And the fact that they've been using social media pictures for so long to gas up the return of Lavia, gas up the return of Nkunku, is why we are so frustrated as a fan base. And you know what? No more. I've given up. I don't care anymore. I will also say one thing, and this is the big thing that we need to talk about. Mauricio Pochettino, at one point in that press conference, went down this avenue where I think he went down excuses lane, right? He went by, oh, feel sorry for us a little bit. Because, yes, we had an extra day to prepare for this game, but it's the accumulation of games. Bro, this is Chelsea. Next year, if things go well, you're going to be either in the Premier League and the Europa League, or the Premier League and the Conference League, or the Premier League and the Champions. So you can't have excuses of, oh, just the accumulation of games. No, it don't work like that, big man. The reality is you're expected to play games and the criticism will be there. So trust me when I tell you, we need to be honest and transparent about this. So cut out the nonsense, cut out the excuse. Then we need to talk about the big one that he said. we're gonna be yo-yo, right? He basically said that in a polite way. He said we can't beat Brighton and everyone goes from 0 to 100 and then back to 0 and back to 100 after we lose to Manchester United and then beat Everton. Because the reality is, it's a process. That's his favorite line. It's a process. Everything is a process. Going to the toilet is a process. Coming through the front door is a process. Going to the kitchen and cooking is a process. Everything's a process. To this club, everything's a process. Every day they wake up in the morning and say, thank you, God, for this process that we have. So we have to accept it. But we also can't be unrealistic. And that is where the balance is, right? And he openly says that. We need to trust these players. We need to develop these players. And it's a process. So we can't get too high when we win. We can't get too low. We've got 6 winnable games. And that's what we need them to do now. Trust the process. That's their motto. Pochettino was also asked about fans booing and turning on thing. And Pochettino was very smart here. It was very easy for him to say, it's disappointing. They shouldn't be doing that. Because I don't think he's allowed to do that. Listen, if I traveled up to Manchester, if I traveled up to Newcastle and they performed poorly, I'm allowed to boo for one. And that is what I'm going to say to the fans. They paid their money. They're allowed to be as annoyed as they want to be. Because the reality is, it's cold, it's windy, it's rainy, and you think I'm not going to express my feelings about that first half performance? Nah, I'm allowed to. Because I get on this camera in the comfort of my home, on this beautiful sofa, or in my room, in my office room, where I sit down on a comfortable chair, and I vent. I tell you my thoughts about the game straight after the game. And I'm emotional, I'm amped up. What do you think they're like in the stadium? What do you think they're like in the stadium? They're allowed to be. And Pochettino was right when he said, fans are allowed to have their opinion. This is Chelsea. And for me, that's all I can say. I think at the time, we need the owners to step up. Look, the owner's biggest mistake was, for me, sacking Tuchel. After that, it was not backing Potter. They hired Potter as their guy, right? I would have never picked Potter to be their guy, but they believed Graham Potter is their guy. When things got rough, they just ripped up the season and said, we'll start again in 3 months' time. We'll bring Pochettino in. They should have stuck with Potter till the end of the season, seen what he can do, and then decided, all right, Graham, thank you for your work. We really appreciate what you've done. Thank you very much. But they ripped everything up, they threw it in the bin, and they brought in Frank Lampard and basically said, 3 months sabbatical. Everyone go on holiday mentally. Yes, your bodies will be here, but just relax. We'll do whatever we want to do. And the reality is, fans were angry and they caved under fans' pressure. And the ownership now needs to be strong with Pochettino. This is your gaffer. Believe in him, trust in him, and you'll be fine. And that is my hope, and that is my message to all of you. Let's hope we beat Everton. Let's get it going. We've got 6 winnable games now. Let's hope we win at least 5. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts. Peace out. I'm out. Bye.